As you're probably aware of, Charlie Kirk got shot live on camera at a college campus event. If you somehow haven't seen the video, do not look it up. Here's a dramatic reenactment for you. Or if you have to look it up, try and educate yourself beforehand how to watch these gruesome kind of videos as to not traumatize yourself. That the video was all over my and probably your feed, and what that says about algorithmic reinforcement of bad stuff in social media could be a complete new video, and I don't want to get into that at this point. But what Charlie Kirk's killing sparked in the realms of social media and in the mainstream media, in politicians, creators, and even your real-life social circles probably had my head spinning. Let's process this. Oh, it's fucking freezing in here. What's in here? Candy? No. Who was Charlie Kirk? The media now tries to tell us that he was a voice of reason, someone who wanted to engage in civil debate instead of sowing division. He must have basically been a saint from what I hear the news outlets tell about him. Let's see a couple of clips from Charlie and hear his viewpoints for ourselves, shall we?
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
You might want to crack open that Bible of yours. In a lesser reference part of the same part of Scripture is in Leviticus 18, is that thou shalt lay with another man shall be stoned to death. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk's self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. And the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped, and she was going to give birth and she would, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Thank you.
Yeah, Deutschland über alles.
So against the natural law, and dare I say, a throbbing middle finger to God, is the transgender thing happening in America right now. We are in a church, and so it's important to remember Deuteronomy 22:5, a woman shall not wear a man's garment, nor shall a man put on a woman's cloak. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God.
And these people are sick. They platformed a biological male who won a national championship. Someone should have just took care of it the way we used to take care of things in the 1950s or 60s.
That's how we get Auschwitz. That's how we get the greatest horrors of the 20th century. Those people are unwanted.
So you're comparing abortion to the Holocaust?
Absolutely I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
This is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals.
Expensive.
It should be public, it should be quick, it should be televised. And you know what? I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better.
The truth is, Charlie Kirk died doing what he loved, making the world a crueler place by spreading hate against minorities and downplaying gun violence. And now, people of all circles crying crocodile tears about this abhorrent political violence, and what they mean is the shooting of Charlie Kirk, not the political violence he propagated on the daily. Political violence was what he was working on his entire career. He was a massive influence that got Trump elected, and he was one of the key people who helped organize the January 6th insurrection, itself a massive act of political violence.
Can I speak to Pelosi? Yeah, we're coming, bitch! Oh, my bitch, we're coming for you too, fucking traitor!
As a queer person, Charlie Kirk wanted me dead. He wanted a lot of my friends dead. He wanted a lot of other innocent people dead because of their gender, religion, place of birth, sexual orientation, or any other completely arbitrary characteristics about them. So why should I care if he got shot any more than I care about the countless other people who lost their lives that day alone to political violence? There was a school shooting in Colorado the same day Charlie Kirk got shot. But do we hear about these innocent people killed by the very political violence that Kirk and people like him promoted and keep on promoting every day? Of course not. Charlie said it himself. They are the price to pay for the privilege to carry around guns. And all gun violence in the US is political violence. Because the decision to let everyone keep guns with little to no oversight is a political one. You could drastically reduce, if not almost completely eradicate mass shootings if it came to stricter gun control. No other country in the world has this sort of problem. These are all preventable deaths. So why are these people suddenly afraid of political violence in this case, when they are proponents of political violence every other day of the year? For example, this was only a couple of days after Kirk's death.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yep. Just kill them. Yep.
Just kill them.
Yep.
Because our political systems are inherently violent. The police beating up protesters is political violence. Letting people drown in the Mediterranean Sea is political violence. Letting people die preventable deaths because they can't afford the medicine is political violence. Deporting people is political violence. Bombing children in the Middle East is political violence. Yet people seem to not care about that violence because it is either far away from them or it is violence against another political or ethnic group they don't care about. And the people who want you to be sad, who scold you for celebrating the death of a fascist, excel themselves in celebrating this violence.
Including a Democrat congressional candidate who was thrown to the ground by an ICE agent. Good work.
Well, maybe Paul Pelosi needs the hammer instead of the metal.
Well, it's metal. Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and/or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
Unlike Charlie Kirk, I do believe in empathy. So why do I think it's okay to not engage with a sudden rush of empathy and condolences coming from all over the world? I'm not a religious person, unlike a lot of the people propagating this hate right now. And I know the Christian fundamentalism is mostly a vehicle for them to further their agenda of division and discord, but I can't shake the irony of it all. Jesus Christ, according to the Bible, was a proponent of radical empathy. He fed the people for free, he listened to marginalized people, and he rioted against a cruel government. And if Jesus was born today, his teachings would be considered woke, and he would be deported by ICE or killed by US weapons in the Middle East. Having empathy is good, but give it to the people you love and who love you, not to asshats that want you dead. Give it to the innocent people suffering from a system that is inherently violent towards them, not to the folks stoking the flame of said violent system. Embrace empathy and kindness instead of holding on to your hatred. This is what the radical left wants you to do. It's me, the radical left. I am Antifa, actually. It was me all along. I'm also ACAB, it's my sprayer name. Is it radical to want people to have a good life? To not be killed or neglected by a state that should take care of the people? I want marginalized people, neurodivergent people, queer people, gay people, trans people to just be able to live their lives. Is that radical? I don't think I am more radical than when I learned, do not do unto others what you do not want others to do unto you. We teach that to preschool children. Is that radicalizing them? I don't think my views are radical at all. But for a person so desensitized by violence, so devoid of empathy for anyone who is even marginally different from them, caring for another people's well-being might seem very radical. I think a lot of people get desensitized to all the violence around us Because our society, our world is so violent all the time. And the media is complicit here. As a recent example, Miss Rachel got accused of spreading Hamas propaganda and hate speech. So what did she say? She said, "I like kids having food, and being silent during a genocide isn't cool." And also stuff like this.
Every child, no matter where they're born, has human rights. Adults should be creating a world for you where you're laughing, playing, and going to school, not where you're running from bombs.
So no wonder that people get confused when empathy and compassion gets branded as hate speech, while actual hate speech gets whitewashed, like in Charlie Kirk's case. How is criticizing Charlie Kirk's rhetoric worse than openly suggesting to murder folks for being gay? The media is literally trying to rewrite Charlie Kirk's history now, using violence and economic penalties to force everyone to go along with it. When Matthew Dowd said Charlie Kirk's hateful words led to hateful actions, he was fired from MSNBC. Jimmy Kimmel was fired for this clip, though he was reinstated after a massive public outcry about it.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and do everything they can to score political points from.
Pete Hegseth went after posts mocking or celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and a lot of people lost their jobs in similar ways for not completely falling in line with the seemingly state-mandated mourning. And they probably won't get their jobs back like Jimmy Kimmel. Are these posts in bad taste? Sure. Some, probably. But isn't this also free speech? The free speech Charlie Kirk was so adamantly arguing for? Or is it only free speech if you wish death on trans people and other minorities? But even this free speech, this open debate culture he fostered, is complete bullshit.
Who is for open debate? Yeah, I'm gonna go around. Let me go around to the kindergartens and you know debate them on like whether their parents suck, and let's film that and make clips out of that, and just to really have open dialogue as a foundational principle. Shut the fuck up. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for the idea that going around to colleges and finding some kid who just recently came out of the closet and is discovering themselves and trying to like quote Leviticus at them effectively is somehow some beautiful foundation of democracy.
I know Steven Universe taught you to just talk it out with the fascists because they'll come around eventually. And that might work occasionally here and there, but it sure won't work on the talking heads of the movement because they can't come around. Because for them, it's a career, and a lucrative one at that. Defeating fascists through debate on these points means that vulnerable minorities will have to endlessly argue for their right to even exist. And no Steven Crowder, no Ben Shapiro, no Charlie Kirk ever engaged in a good faith debate, and would you believe it, no one of those guys ever changed their minds. Because it's not about being right or wrong, it's about spreading hate and violence. When Charlie Kirk and his cohorts on the right constantly mocked victims of political violence, of course without facing consequences, nobody bat an eye. This is the fuck your feelings crowd, remember that. The people who stormed the Capitol to kill elected officials, the people who are okay with saying stuff like, we should kill all the homeless people, trying to lecture you now on what decency looks like, and that political violence is not okay. This is political violence. Now, Laura Loomer speculates about a trans terror cell and wants to prosecute every leftist organization because of this. Jesse Waters says they are at war with us. They obviously being an amorphous left mass of evil.
It's happening. You got trans shooters, you got riots in LA. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us.
He also tries to accuse trans people of being mass shooters. trans shooters are, statistically speaking, not really a thing, though? Please also note that he does this before even having a vague idea who the shooter might have been. This is a climate of hate, meticulously crafted by malicious actors like Charlie Kirk, paid for by right-wing billionaires to incite a meaningless culture war. So nobody can focus on what's actually wrong with the system. And now it turns out it was not a trans shooter. Because of course it fucking wasn't. It was not a Democrat, not a communist, not an immigrant how they had hoped for so bad, how they had already told everyone before Kirk's body was even cold.
For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us. That somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here.
Turns out it was just a white dude. The truth is, we don't really know anything about the motives of the alleged shooter. And with how bad the FBI fumbling this case, we might never know. This lends itself to conspiracy theories for sure, and there are plenty of them flying around already. And the right is of course trying to spin this another way, to continue their culture war, to continue to pin this somehow on marginalized people. And even if they can't, they're sure to at least blame the left for not mourning the loss of life as they deem appropriate. Pretty sad deflections, to be honest. In the end, it does not matter who shot Charlie Kirk. The right will find a way to use the events to further their agenda. They always do. Let's be clear here. A man died. That's horrible. And I don't want to downplay that. It's not wrong to mourn a loss of life at all. I won't argue against that. But what I find weird is that all the other lives lost that day through political violence will not be mourned, not be acknowledged in quite the same way. What is it that when a certified fascist gets gunned down, it sparks more outrage than when kids meet the same fate through a school shooting? I am not arguing against an outcry when political violence is committed. I'm just baffled that these outcries only ever seem to happen when it's rich, white people who bite the dust. Because for the people in power, it is only political violence when it is done to someone like them, never when it is committed against people they deem beneath them. You see it clear as day. There is no good faith on the political right. And the worst thing is, this will of course not be the last time we see this. This fatal shooting is their Reichstag fire moment. They are trying to dismantle democracy through this event. You can already see the cogs turning. This will certainly spark more violence from the state, from other fascists. They're already stirring it up as you watch this. I'm probably not equipped to talk about this proper, as I'm not a US citizen, thank God. But as a German, I can see the signs bright and clear. Please educate yourself on how you can stop this still, because the US is heading straight into fascism. Like, even more fascism than now. And instead of sparking a debate about the hate speech from fascist actors, instead of sparking a debate about gun control, instead of trying to build a society in which such a horrific crime cannot happen, there is more and more hate, more and more people trying to whitewash the actions of a Nazi instead of getting to the root of the problem. Because that would mean confronting the whole violent system this incident is not a bug of, but a feature. So, no, I won't mourn the death of a Nazi. Rest in peace. Speaking ill of dead fascists is not the same as calling for their murder or celebrating their death. Speaking ill of dead fascists is a good thing, actually. If you were a piece of shit while you were alive, why should we remember you any other way? If you want to be remembered as a good person, Here's a pro tip for you. Be a good person. Use empathy and compassion as your guiding principles. Go out and make the world a better place. Not just for you, but for everyone. Until next time, be excellent to each other.